The termination letter hit the conference room table at 3:47 p.m. on a Thursday. My manager Derek leaned back with that practiced smug smile, telling me the company didn't need salespeople who just got lucky with one big client. Tomorrow was Friday, the day my $56,000 commission was supposed to hit my account after 6 months of grinding to land Patterson Construction, our biggest client in 3 years. "Clean out your desk within the hour," Derek said, standing to straighten his tie. As he walked me to the door, he leaned close enough for me to smell his coffee breath. "And don't even think about that commission. It's mine now." The door closed. But Derek had left something behind, the blue Patterson Construction client folder, still sitting on the conference table. I couldn't sleep that night. At 2 a.m., I remembered that folder and realized I'd photographed it before leaving. The next morning, I called my contact at Patterson Construction. Marcus sent over the original contract within 20 minutes. Page 4, Section 7B, was crystal clear: any sales representative listed on the initial client acquisition form must receive their full commission payment, regardless of employment status at time of payment. My name was right there in the representative field. Then I saw it, a second signature, supposedly mine, authorizing Derek as secondary representative. I zoomed in until the pixels showed. The letters were wrong, the angle was off, the pressure inconsistent. Derek had forged my signature, and he'd done it badly. I took screenshots, saved multiple copies, printed everything twice. This wasn't just theft anymore. This was fraud. I drafted a careful email to HR with the contract and forged signature highlighted. Sent it at 9:15 a.m. By noon, nothing. By 3 p.m., I called. The HR director Amanda picked up on the fifth ring, her voice tight and irritated. "We've received your emails. The decision is final. Stop contacting the company or we'll consider it harassment." The line went dead. They weren't even going to look at the evidence. I had a friend still working there, Tyler in accounting. When I asked him to check the Patterson file, his response chilled me: all the records show Derek as primary contact. Your name isn't anywhere. Derek hadn't just stolen my commission. He'd erased me from the entire account history, rewriting 6 months of work like I'd never existed. Tyler called Tuesday afternoon, voice low and urgent. "I'm sending you something. Don't tell anyone where you got it." The email arrived with screenshots of internal chat messages from 4 months earlier. Derek had written in June, 2 months before I'd closed the Patterson deal, "Going to have to let someone go soon. Budget cuts. Thinking it'll be our boy with the construction account." Someone responded, "But isn't he about to close that?" Derek's reply, even better. "We'll wait until after. Then I'll handle it." There were more messages, a whole thread of Derek planning my termination, timing it precisely to steal the commission. He discussed it with other managers, laughed about it, strategized every detail. The last screenshot was from 3 weeks ago. The client will never know he's gone. I'll slide right into his spot and they won't even notice. Then Tyler sent audio. For minutes of Derek at a manager meeting, laughing, "The kid has no idea what's coming. He thinks he's untouchable because of Patterson. But the second that contract's signed, he's gone." When someone asked if that was legal, Derek laughed harder. "Who cares? By the time he figures it out, the commission will already be redistributed. He's too naive to fight back." I called Marcus Patterson. We'd built a solid relationship over 6 months. He trusted me, appreciated my honesty. I needed to tell him everything. "Marcus, it's me. I need to tell you something." I kept my voice steady, just stated the facts. I'd been terminated. Derek was taking over the account. Long pause. Then Marcus's voice came back, confused and sharp. What do you mean you were fired? Derek told us you quit. He said you got a better offer and walked out on the project. I explained everything, the termination timing, the forged signature, Derek's months of planning. Marcus was silent, then, that little snake. He called me last Friday, tried to renegotiate our terms. Said the original agreement had issues and he needed to adjust pricing. I told him we had a signed contract and to stop wasting my time. Marcus, I need to meet with you. There's more you need to know. How soon can you get here? Marcus's project manager Angela sat beside him in the conference room, arms crossed, looking furious as I laid out everything. The timeline, the forged signature, Derek erasing me from company records, the leaked messages showing he'd planned the whole thing. When I finished, Marcus leaned back and rubbed his face. You know what makes me angriest? It's not even about the money. Derek thought we were stupid enough not to notice the switch. Angela pulled out her copy of the contract, flipping to page 9. This implementation clause was my idea. If the original representative gets replaced without our approval, the contract voids. The company owes us a penalty equal to 15% of the total contract value. Marcus smiled, and it wasn't friendly. That's about $400,000. He looked at me directly. Are you ready to make them regret this? We spent 2 hours dissecting the contract. The clause was buried in technical language, but it was legally binding. Patterson Construction had the right to demand that I, specifically, oversee the initial implementation phase. If the company couldn't provide me, they had 30 days to find a suitable replacement that Patterson approved. If they failed, the contract voided automatically and the penalty clause kicked in. I spent that night organizing everything into one comprehensive folder. Every email exchange with Patterson, timestamped and dated. Every meeting note, call log, presentation deck. Screenshots of Derek's chat messages. Photos of the forged signature. The original contract with the implementation clause highlighted. A timeline document showing exactly when everything happened. The pattern was so clear it felt stupid that Derek thought he'd get away with it. But he'd probably assumed I'd just go away quietly, too defeated or scared to fight back. At 8 a.m. Wednesday, Marcus sent an email directly to my former company's CEO, copying the entire executive board, legal department, and corporate compliance. Subject line, Fraud and Bad Faith Negotiation Patterson Construction Contract. The email was 3 devastating paragraphs detailing Derek's unauthorized contact attempts, his misrepresentation about my departure, and the recorded audio of him admitting to planning my termination to steal my commission. He attached the audio file, the forged signature, and the contract clause. The last paragraph was perfect. Patterson Construction cannot in good conscience continue a business relationship with an organization that operates with such clear ethical violations. We are demanding immediate resolution, including full compensation for your terminated employee and removal of the manager in question. You have 48 hours to respond before we consult our legal team about contract termination and associated penalties. Tyler texted me 20 minutes later, emergency meeting happening right now. Derek wasn't invited. Everyone looks terrified. The company's corporate compliance attorney Victoria Brennan called within hours. We met Friday morning at a neutral law office. She sat across from me with another attorney, getting straight to business. The company is prepared to offer you a settlement. $20,000, immediate payment, in exchange for your signature on a non-disclosure agreement and a release of all claims. I'd expected this. No, I said simply. Victoria's eyebrow raised. That's more than a third of your commission. Most people in your position would consider that generous. Most people in my position didn't have their signature forged or their manager recorded laughing about stealing from them. I slid my documentation across the table. Derek committed fraud. Your company enabled it. $20,000 doesn't even cover the commission I'm legally owed, much less the damage to my career. What do you want? She asked. Everything I'm owed. Every penny. And Derek fired. I stood up. I have another meeting in an hour. With your competitor. They're very interested in hiring someone who built a relationship with Patterson Construction. Victoria's expression didn't change, but something flickered in her eyes. Wait. Let's keep talking. You have my number, I said, and walked out. The competitor was Apex Solutions. Their VP of Sales Nathan Cruz had reached out after hearing about Derek's firing. Word travels fast in our industry. We talked for 2 hours. I showed him everything, demonstrating my work rather than just trashing my old company. Nathan listened carefully, asked smart questions, never seemed bothered by the drama. Here's what I see, he said finally. You built something valuable with a major client. Your previous employer failed to recognize that value. Their loss is potentially our gain. He slid an employment offer across his desk. Salary 20% higher than my previous job, plus a $15,000 signing bonus. And if Patterson Construction wants to move their business here, we'd be happy to have them. With you as their primary contact, of course. I called Marcus. They're offering me a job. A good one. If Patterson wants to move the contract here, they can do it. Marcus was quiet for exactly 3 seconds. Let me talk to Angela and our legal team. But between you and me? I'm done with people who forge signatures and laugh about stealing. Monday morning, Marcus called at 7 a.m. We're moving the contract. Angela's drafting the termination notice today. We're citing the implementation clause in Derek's unauthorized contact as breach of good faith. The penalty will be calculated and invoiced. Tuesday, Derek finally broke his silence with a text, "You're ruining everything. This is insane. Just take whatever they're offering and move on. You're destroying people's careers over nothing." I blocked his number without responding. Wednesday morning at 9 a.m., Marcus sent the formal termination notice to my old company. The language was devastating and precise. Patterson Construction was exercising their right to terminate due to material breach of good faith negotiations, citing Derek's unauthorized contact, his attempt to renegotiate signed terms, and the company's failure to maintain the agreed-upon representative. The penalty demand, $412,000. Amanda from HR called within the hour, her voice tired and desperate. We need to talk. The executive team wants to meet with you. I don't work there anymore. Remember? We're prepared to discuss reinstatement. And the commission situation. I'll think about it, I said, and ended the call. They called repeatedly over the next day. I let them panic, finally calling back Thursday morning. They put me through to Gerald Hampton, Regional Director. We've reviewed the Patterson situation. We're prepared to offer you reinstatement with full back pay and your commission. Here's what I want, I said. $56,000 in commission, paid immediately. Full back pay. My HR file cleared completely with written documentation that the termination was in error. And Derek removed from his position. Silence. That's a significant request. It's what I'm owed. And it's what it'll cost to avoid Patterson's contract termination penalty of over $400,000. Patterson gave you 7 days. You've used 1. Clock's ticking. The hearing was scheduled for Wednesday at 2 p.m. I arrived 15 minutes early in my best suit, carrying a leather folder with every document organized and tabbed. 5 company representatives sat on one side of the massive boardroom table: Gerald Hampton, Amanda from HR, 2 board members, and Patricia from legal. Derek sat alone on the other side, looking terrible, pale, wrinkled shirt, shaking hands. Patricia ran the hearing with clinical precision, outlining the allegations and timeline. She questioned Derek methodically. "Do you deny having contact with Patterson Construction after this employee's termination?" "I was just trying to maintain the relationship." "Do you deny attempting to renegotiate the signed contract terms?" "I thought there was room for optimization." "Do you deny forging this employee's signature on company documents?" Derek's face went red. "I don't remember exactly what I signed." Patricia slid the forged signature across the table, blown up to poster size. "This is your handwriting, isn't it?" Then she played the audio recording. Derek's voice filled the room, laughing about stealing my commission, calling me naive, discussing how HR would bury any complaint. When it ended, the silence was crushing. Derek had collapsed into his chair, his head in his hands. Patricia turned to me. "The board would like to hear directly from you. What resolution would you consider appropriate?" I opened my folder slowly. "I want 4 things. First, my full commission of $56,000, paid immediately with documented proof. Second, back pay for the entire month I was terminated, including benefits. Third, my personnel file completely cleared with written statement that my termination was in error. Fourth, Derek's removal from any position where he has authority over employees or client relationships." I slid my documentation across to Patricia. "I've outlined everything here: the timeline, the evidence of fraud, the documented planning of my termination, and the contract clause Patterson is using to justify their termination notice." Gerald Hampton scanned it quickly. "These terms are acceptable to the board. We'll process everything immediately. The check will be ready by Friday." Patricia looked at Derek. "Your employment is terminated effective immediately. Security will escort you out. You're fortunate we're not pursuing criminal charges for the forgery." Derek's head snapped up. "Wait, please, can I just say something? Unless it's an apology to the person you attempted to defraud, no." Derek turned to me, eyes desperate. "Please. I have a family. I have bills. Don't let them fire me. Tell them it was just a misunderstanding." I looked at him, remembering his smile when he'd fired me, his whispered threat about the commission, his laughter on that recording. "You should have thought about your family before you forged my signature and planned to steal from me." Security appeared. Patricia nodded. "Please escort him out." We watched in silence as Derek stood on shaking legs and left, flanked by guards. I stood up, gathering my folder. "I'll expect that check on Friday. And the cleared personnel file documentation. After that, we're done." I was walking through the parking lot when I heard footsteps behind me. "Wait, please wait." Derek had slipped away from security, was half running toward me, face flushed and desperate. "I just need 1 minute. Please. Just listen." I stopped but didn't move closer. I know I messed up. But losing my job, that's going to destroy me. My wife just had a baby. We have a mortgage. I'm begging you, go back in there and tell them it was just a misunderstanding. Tell them I made a mistake, but I don't deserve to lose everything. I stared at this man who'd planned my termination for months, who'd laughed about stealing from me, who'd forged my signature and tried to erase me from company records. "You're asking me for mercy." Derek nodded frantically. "Yes. Please. I'm sorry, okay? I'm really sorry. I'll do anything." You should have thought about your family before you forged my signature. You should have thought about your mortgage before you planned to steal $56,000 from me. You should have thought about consequences before you laughed about how naive I was on that recording. I know I did wrong, but please. You didn't just do wrong. You committed fraud. You tried to destroy my career. And when I was escorted out of that office, did you show me any mercy? Did you think about my bills, my future? Derek had no answer. Security's looking for you. I'd get going. I turned and walked to my car without looking back. Behind me, I heard Derek make a sound between a sob and a groan. In my rearview mirror, I saw security guards finding him in the parking lot. I felt no satisfaction, no triumph. Just a quiet sense that justice, finally, had been served. Friday morning, I drove back to the office one last time. Amanda met me in the lobby with an envelope containing 2 checks, $56,000 in commission, plus back pay for the month I'd been gone. My personnel file had been completely cleared with formal letters apologizing for administrative errors and management misconduct. This resolves everything per the board's agreement, Amanda said. I'm sorry for how this was handled. I took the checks and left that building for the last time. Monday, I walked into Apex Solutions for my first day. The conference room was set up perfectly for the contract signing. Marcus stood when I entered, shaking my hand firmly. Good to be working with you again. In the right place this time. We spent 2 hours transferring the contract officially from my old company to Apex Solutions. Marcus had actually expanded the scope, adding services that pushed the total value over $2 million. Figured if we were moving anyway, might as well make it worthwhile. Nathan couldn't stop smiling. This was the biggest contract Apex had landed in 2 years. That evening, I received the email notification, commission payment processed. My old company had wired $56,000 to my account. Every penny Derek had tried to steal. Every dollar I'd earned. The following weeks were strange but good. Working in a functional environment was completely different from what I'd known before. Nathan trusted me, valued my input, actually listened. The Patterson account progressed smoothly, the implementation phase that had stalled for weeks now ahead of schedule. Tyler left the old company too. Place is a mess, he told me over coffee. They lost Patterson, Derek's gone, and now everyone's paranoid. 2 more managers got fired last month for expense fraud. 3 months after the contract transfer, Apex Solutions landed 2 more major clients, both referrals from Marcus. Nathan talked about expanding the department. I want you to help interview new hires. You know what good work looks like. And you know what to watch out for. Derek's name occasionally came up in industry conversations, usually as a cautionary tale about ethics violations. I heard he'd struggled to find new work, that the recording had spread further than expected. I didn't feel good about that, but I didn't feel bad either. Actions have consequences. 6 months later, I received an unexpected email from Gerald Hampton. He thanked me for my integrity and explained that my case had triggered a thorough review revealing several other instances of misconduct. They'd implemented new oversight procedures for commission payments, mandatory ethics training, a confidential reporting system, and an external audit of HR practices. Your case became a catalyst for genuine institutional change, Gerald wrote. I know that doesn't undo what you experienced, but I wanted you to know that it mattered beyond your individual situation. A year after Derek fired me, I was invited to speak at an industry conference about ethical sales practices. Standing on that stage, looking out at 200 faces, I told the story carefully without naming names but hitting every important point. When I finished, the room was silent for 3 seconds. Then everyone was clapping, some standing. After the talk, dozens of people approached me. Some shared their own stories of workplace betrayal. Others asked for advice about documentation and protection. One young salesperson shook my hand and said, "I'm taking screenshots of everything now. Every project, every email, every success. Because of what you said." That night, I sat in my apartment looking at the award Apex Solutions had given me for top sales performance. The commission check from Derek's attempted theft had been the foundation. But I'd built on it, expanded it, turned that stolen opportunity into a career I was genuinely proud of. My phone buzzed. Marcus, texting about another potential project. "You free next week to discuss expansion?" I typed back, "Absolutely. Let's build something." The story could have ended with that termination letter. Instead, it was just beginning. And I was the one writing the next chapters now.